Welcome back to Intelligent Ignorance, y'all, with me and my man R. Hunter over there. What's going on, R. How you been, brother?
Man, what's happening, Jay? It's been a while since we did a show, man. We back.
I know we're so sporadic with it. It's crazy.
It's random.
It's like, all right, here we go. Let's do it right now. Let's go. Boom. We're gonna do a show.
Let's get it.
And we just do that. But right now, while I have you, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's New Twist Radio's YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/New Twist Radio. Right now, we are live, of course.
Yeah.
To prove it to you, we're here on the East Coast. It's 7:22 p.m.
Sixers game about to start.
Oh, Sixers game about to start. Speaking of which, get right into it. We might as well start with him.
Let's go.
Let's talk about James Harden. It's a whole new day in the Sixers era. I couldn't wait to talk about this whole new day in the Sixers era. James Harden is a Sixer. Gone is Ben Simmons. Gone is Seth Curry. Gone is Andre Drummond.
Mr. Drummond.
The Sixers received James Harden and Paul Millsap.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, are excited about the Sixers right now. A lot of people are excited, but it seems like on a national level, they're not. They don't trust it.
But you know what? So, and you and I, we talked about this at length. There's a lot of skeptical people because they're talking about the individual success of these two guys apart.
Mm-hmm.
You can't judge them until they start to accumulate a body of work. If you look at the two individuals right now, just pure stats, they are the highest scoring combo in the NBA right now. So
it's funny you say that because earlier today I was listening to something and there was a pundit that said they might be the fifth best duo in the East. That's what he said. Let me say this again because I wanted to resound.
Not in the league.
Not in the league. He said they might be the fifth best duo in the East.
That's a hard sell.
I had to break it down. I'm like, okay, well, let's see who's in the East. The one you got to talk about Kyrie and Durant, which have they even played together yet this year?
They
played together last year.
They got to get time together on the court. I think combined they've played not even a dozen games together.
Let's go to. They said something about Boston, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Now I will give those two credit. They are. I want to say they are the second highest duo combined in scoring in the league. But again, now this duo, and you can legit call them a duo because they've had time together. They haven't produced any real success either. And I think less than a week ago, there was a lot of talk about that duo should be broken up because they can achieve success together.
Man, they were exploring trades.
Right.
They were exploring trades. They actually were looking to trade Jaylen Brown. They were looking to move Jaylen Brown.
You don't trade Jason Tatum. I know that.
Don't trade Jason Tatum. He is a talent.
He is a bona fide star in this league.
And then I was thinking about some of the other duos that might be out there. One that was mentioned was Zach LaVine and DeAndre. I'm sorry, DeAndre. DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar. Now, DeMar DeRozan is playing MVP level basketball right now. I won't take that away from him. Zach LaVine is playing at a high level. Again, there's no history that supports that these guys are going to achieve anything together. And honestly, right now, I feel like Chicago's weakness, and as much as I hate to say it, is not having Lonzo Ball and not having Alex Caruso available because they're struggling on the defensive end. They are truly struggling on the defensive side. And those two really impact the success of that team. So you can have two high-level players, and if you can't play defense and you can't win, who cares?
Basically. I mean, look, one of the arguments was Harden has done nothing in the playoffs, and Embiid has done nothing in the playoffs.
Which is valid. It's very valid, but it's separate.
Two of the three debates I just threw in front of you also have done nothing in the playoffs.
Correct.
So why does he put them ahead of Harden and Embiid?
You can't. It sounds like hate, and I'll blatantly say it. It sounds like hate because
let me give you one reason why I know it was hate. Because he said, and I forgot his name. I wish I could remember that. He said, "I can't wait for the honeymoon in Philadelphia to be over." That's what he said. I can't wait for the honeymoon in Philadelphia to be over and these guys not be able to play together.
What if the honeymoon ends in a championship?
And then I'll be happy.
I mean, hey, Philadelphia. We were just discussing this. Like, we were talking about things that are old, and I remember seeing Philadelphia in a championship game. And how long ago was that?
2017. 5 years ago.
We ain't talking about the Eagles.
Oh.
We talking about the Sixers.
The Sixers in the championship game. 2001.
2000. That was over 2 decades ago.
Yeah, it's crazy to think of, but that was 21 years ago.
Like when we talk about my child was just being born the last time the Sixers were in the NBA Finals.
So I'm going to stop you right there because I'm starting to feel a little bit of something. There's something radiating from your statements right now. That, me knowing that you're not a Sixers fan, I feel a little bit of radiation coming from those statements. We know that we haven't been in the finals. Sixers fans know that the Sixers have not been in the finals. Actually, I'm not going to say we know it's been over 20 years, but we know it's been a while. I didn't realize till today that was like, damn, that was 20 years ago, 21 years ago to be exact.
21 years ago.
That was almost half my life ago. Actually, a little more than half of my life ago.
So you know what? While we're on basketball, and we haven't had a chance to openly talk about All-Star Weekend. We did talk about Cat, but the elephant in the room that we definitely did not talk about was that trash event of a slam dunk contest. How would you fix it?
Okay, so we discussed it before. How would I fix the slam dunk contest? I had 2 fixes for it. I'm going to try to remember them both on the fly. One, I would put the professional dunkers in it, right? But then at that point, it's no longer the NBA dunk contest. It's just a dunk contest.
Well, I mean, now it's just the slam dunk contest at All-Star Weekend.
Right. So what I'm saying is, if you put the pros in it, it's not really an NBA thing. It's just a slam dunk contest. But this is what I would do. I would no longer show it live. I would no longer show it live.
Give them a tape delay?
I would put it on tape delay because it's that bad. It is that bad. And I would show the best dunks from it. Because me watching somebody try to dunk 13 times, I did that when I was 14, 15, 16 years old, watching guys try to get their first dunks off.
Yeah.
And it was almost got it. I don't want to watch the professionals do it that are in here. See, here's the problem with the dunk contest. It was great when it first came about because we were not used to seeing guys do fancy dunks in games. Right. The fanciest dunkers in games were Dominique Wilkins, Dr. J, Michael Jordan,
Vince.
Well, I'm talking about before. I'm talking about early days. What's my man that won it from? Who beat Dr. J? Skywalker. I'm having a brain fart, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It has changed, and then it was good for a while, right? Kobe Bryant won one of the last great ones. Now, don't stop me. Hold on, don't stop me. Kobe Bryant won one of the last great dunk contests, and then they went downhill until Vince. then Vince won probably the greatest dunk contest we've seen. And from three people forget Tracy McGrady and Steve Francis in that dunk contest did amazing dunks too. Dunk contest has gone downhill gradually since then. I feel like that dunk contest was one of the worst, but I kind of feel like the one where the dude blew out the cupcake on the brim was one of the worst dunk contests ever.
Well,
and I don't remember what else was in that.
So I feel like a lot of people, and I'm not going to completely dismiss these new school of dunkers, because the Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon dunk off
that was pretty good.
Absolutely amazing.
That was very good. That was very that was good from a standpoint of
what was what we needed, because the contest was horrible.
Right. I actually forgot about that, but let me tell you this. So that dunk contest I feel was underrated due to the fact, what up, my man Mike Knox? Due to the fact that and I talked about it on the show with Mike Knox, actually. That dunk contest, that Aaron Gordon dunk, where he had where the mascot had the ball, he was spinning around or whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
That might have been one of the most difficult dunks I've ever seen in a dunk contest.
The degree of difficulty in that dunk.
My man Jason said Birdman was the worst. Yo, he tried to dunk 43 times. I don't know if he ever made it. I think they just said, yo, you got to
time's up. They changed the rule because of Birdman.
Because of him.
They changed the rule because of Birdman. That was the absolute worst.
Listen, I feel like if you miss twice, you either need to take your 0 for the day or change the dunk. Don't try to do the same dunk anymore.
No, I agree.
We grew up at a time, and I sound like an old head. We came up at a time where they didn't miss their dunks. Of course, their dunks weren't as difficult as they are now.
Right.
But they just didn't miss. They made their dunks. They were fancy. Now, if guys were doing the kiss the rim dunk in today's dunk contest, stuff that won Michael Jordan a dunk contest, it's not going to win today. It's just not. No. We've seen it over and over and over again. It's not even exciting anymore. It was exciting then. So the pressure of creativity is there, which is why I say bring in the professional dunkers. I also say bring in the tape delay if you're going to have regular dunkers, because we don't want to waste our time watching these guys try multiple times. So bring in a tape delay, maybe even add one more thing to the All-Star Weekend. Maybe bring 3-ball back, because that was pretty cool. You can bring 3-ball back, because remember that replaced the dunk contest for a few years, and people lost their minds. People lost their minds over that. And but the NBA was probably trying to get in front of something. They saw a problem, they tried to fix it before it was broke. And now we, they tried to please us, and now you see what it is now.
So I would love to see the NBA do kind of what Major League Baseball did. And, Major League Baseball brought out the heavy hitters because they threw the money at them. They said, you win the home run derby, you get $1 million. So remember, my man who was playing for the Mets, what is his name? Pete Alonso.
Mm-hmm.
He came out, and it was his rookie year, but he was a big home run hitter. He made more money in the home run derby than he did by actually playing baseball his rookie year, because his salary was like $450,000. He won $1 million by being a big hitter in the home run derby. So you incentivize these dunkers, these real dunkers, to come out and get this money. Ja Morant, he already said, I'm not coming out there to do it because there's nothing in it for me.
Mm-hmm. And I respect Ja Morant for taking that route, because LeBron didn't take that route.
Right.
LeBron came out and said, I'm going to be in the next year, and we never seen him in it.
So
LeBron is not a dunk contest dunker, though.
But even now, I would pay to see Ja Morant, still see Aaron Gordon, still see Zach LaVine, because these guys are still in the league, and it ain't like they still don't have springs.
Those are the guys that need to be in it.
They gotta be in it.
Gary Payton Jr.
I don't know if he's a show dunker. I don't know if he's a show dunker like those guys.
But you got to have at least one game dunker in there. What the dunk kid does in the games look like he can do something. Even if he's the worst dunker in the contest, that's doing something.
Even though he'd been in the league 19 years, I would still pay to see LeBron in a dunk contest.
I wouldn't.
I would.
And I'm gonna tell you why.
He's still
I love
boxing.
LeBron. I'm a LeBron fan. LeBron, I love you. I saw a clip today, I think it was on Twitter, of LeBron taking the ball through the lane and dunking against Portland. I don't know when this game was. I don't know if it was last night. I don't know when it was.
No, it wasn't last night. They had Dallas last night.
Okay, so I don't know when this game was. But I'll tell you this, that lift wasn't the same.
But it's still, but his lift is still.
He can dunk, but it just wasn't the same. I mean, he's been in the league 132 years. So it's not going to be the same. I don't expect it to be the same. By this point in his career, he shouldn't be in a dunk contest. Like, he should have already participated, been there, done that. He's an old head now.
But so if LeBron entered the 2022 slam dunk contest, you don't think I was going to ignore it and keep rolling, but you brought it up.
I had to.
So if LeBron was in the contest this year with the field that was out there, you don't think LeBron would have won it?
Why? Why would he have won it? Because he can dunk hard? Because
all of those, LeBron ain't gonna miss 12 times. Be honest.
All LeBron would have had to do would dunk the ball.
Was make the dunk.
But that's all anybody really would have had to do in this one. Like, if I could dunk, I probably could have won this year's dunk contest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
They gotta give him. They gotta incentivize it. They gotta make it worthwhile. The trophy is cool. The bragging rights is cool.
There's so much that can go wrong if they don't win. You know, I'm talking about outside of basketball. You know, outside of that.
No, I get it. And the one thing, and I hate to switch gears like this because I brought it up with how they can incentivize it, because you know what just happened yesterday, and it's near and dear to both of our hearts. But with this lockout of the MLB, how you feeling about it right now?
So my honest opinion on how I feel about it right now. Hold on, let me put this up there real quick. This is funny. I got to put this one up there. Can we say go Penwood basketball? Yes, Penwood plays Friday night. They play on Friday night against Westchester East. Interesting game for me. That's all I'm gonna say about that. It's an interesting game for me. Maybe I'll show up.
Hold on, but so now that we done got that, I just want to say shout out to the Howard Wildcats, Flight B champions again. Ooh. Basketball.
Go Wildcats. Howard High School's finest over here.
Oh, you know. Howard High School. Shout out to my squad.
So if I'm giving you my honest opinion on how I feel about the baseball lockout right now and them canceling the first two series for every team, let me give you my honest opinion. Let me talking to the mic. I really don't care. I really don't. And I'm gonna tell you why. It's all because of the Sixers. I have something to look forward to during that time of year right now.
Right.
So I'll be focused on the Sixers. So this is a good thing. I can focus on the Sixers instead of missing the Sixers game because I'm probably going to go to a baseball game in the cold because I love watching baseball live. There's nothing like it to me outside of, I love watching live baseball, a good live baseball. Okay, let's put that out there. But no, I really don't care, honestly. And I feel like a lot of times baseball really doesn't get good until the All-Star break. You know what I mean? Because at that time, teams that are out of it, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of teams that are still fighting for it at that point. And you have about 2.5 months or maybe a month and a half really to really get yourself together, but 2.5 months. And so, when they start canceling games in July, then we're going to have an issue. But how do you feel about it? I know you're a baseball guy just like me.
So one, and I got to say it up front, I am on the side of the players, obviously. Being somebody, and we had this conversation personally, 20 years ago, I would have said, hey, these guys should play for free because they love the game of baseball. And I remember my senior year of high school. I met a young man who was playing on the Wilmington Blue Rocks, and he gave me his perspective of the minor leagues and the living arrangements and the pay. And his advice to me at that point was, if you are not a first 10 round draft pick, go to college. He was like, don't risk your livelihood for this game. And it kind of shocked me because at that point he was only maybe 20. And me as a 17-year-old, I love the game of baseball. And the mindset back then is I would play this game for free. But as a grown up, when you introduce real life responsibilities and you have a family and you have a way of living, and I think I said it to you earlier, the concessions that these guys are fighting for are not for the Bryce Harpers. They're not for the Mike Trouts.
Right.
They're making these concessions for the guy who just got called up from AA, just got called up from AAA, just got called up from single A, and they are getting league minimum. These minimum salaries are still relatively not enough for what these guys endure and what they have to transition from. Because when you're spending 5 to 10 years in the minor leagues on a $30,000 salary, that's hard. That's a hard life.
It is. And one of the things that I know the owners were actually fighting for was to not pay the minor leaguers when it comes to preseason, which I thought was just a crock of BS, for real, for real. You're not going to, they're still working for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? I could see if it was like somebody that was coming to try out and they were able to try out for the team, and I could see that. But these guys are under contract for they're your employees right now. You don't want
like you should
them,
just
but
be
you don't
grateful to be here.
That's crazy to me. Because it's training. Now, I know most people that I know they go and they get a new job or whatever, they get on the job training and they get paid for it.
You get paid for training.
And now there are jobs where you don't get paid for training, but that's not
those jobs.
I think those you get paid for most training jobs. But anyway, that sounds like that's borderline. I hate to use this word. It's borderline slavery. You're gonna have your players, your employees, come and play for you. You're going to charge fans to go to the game. You're going to charge fans to drink beer. You're going to charge fans to eat a hot dog. You're going to charge fans to eat a hamburger. You're going to charge fans for some ice cream. You're going to charge fans for a stupid little tiny baseball bat, a hat, whatever. But the people that's putting on the show don't get paid. That's why we're still in lockout, because of dumb thinking like that. That's stupid. That's foolish. And that might have been one of those things that was like a negotiating point. Like, we're going to start here. That way, we're working, they're working. That's borderline slavery.
Yeah, I'm completely on the side of the MLBPA, the Players Association. You have my support. If you got to lock out the game all year, you got to lock out the game. But you can't. And it's funny because I was watching one of those sports networks earlier today, and they were talking about how the owners have weaponized the lockout and how this is a tactic because, again, it's not going to hurt the Bryce Harpers. It's not going to hurt the Mike Trouts. It's going to hurt those guys who don't have the service time built up. They don't have the financials built up as those guys. And after a month of losing game checks, they're going to say, hey, I need money. We got to figure this out. Because just like you and I said today, hey, you can't go play indie ball. You can't go play for the Iowa Mud Ducks and make $20,000 because you're still under a professional contract at that point.
Yes.
So you really don't have a way outside of endorsements, and only top guys get endorsements. You're not going to have another way to make income. And those low totem pole guys that aren't making any money, you're going to call Bryce Harper for a loan? You're going to call Mike Trout and say, look, I know you got 150 M's. Can I hold 200,000?
It's funny you say that because I feel like correct me if I'm wrong. The last time there was a lockout,
The
there were
players did do.
players that did do that.
David Price was one of the big ones who stepped up first.
Mm.
And David Price was donating money out of his salary. And even with COVID arrangements, David Price was donating his money out of his contract to families of stadium employees who weren't getting work.
Right.
Like the players step up and do a lot. I'm not going to say that the owners do or don't. I don't know what they do. They don't get publicized for it, but I do recognize what the players do. And players, they deserve a lot of the recognition for what they do for the game and for the people who support the game. Because at the end of the day, the game doesn't survive without the fans. And this lockout is not doing any favors to their fan base because their fan base is getting older. The younger people don't want to watch baseball. There's nothing exciting about this game unless you like watching paint dry.
Paint dry is kind of exciting.
So,
You ever see
I'm a chess
black
player.
paint dry?
I'm a guy that likes watching paint dry. I invite you out to at least 10 Phillies games a year. I love the game.
But see, you and I are different because we played the game at a different level.
Right.
Than a majority of casual fans, right?
Right.
And we watch the game with different eyes, right? So I would say somebody played pro ball, somebody played high school ball, somebody played college ball. They watch the game with different eyes.
Differently.
They can appreciate a pitcher's duel. Your average fan cannot. Your average fan is like, yo, nobody's scoring. Us as a fan, we're like, yo, these guys are dealing. Like, this is crazy. Nobody's hitting. They're like, one thing that I've realized over the years in watching these athletes play is these athletes that play these games are the best in the world at what they do. They're the best. Like, so you have to really think about how if you have a pitcher's duel, and the pitcher's duel for the common fan, that's when pitchers are basically unhittable by these professional hitters. You're watching the guys at the top of their game doing their thing. At basketball, like most people have not played basketball against somebody professional caliber.
Right.
They just haven't. Right. Most people have never seen a 90 plus mile an hour fastball. Right. Everything looks easy on TV. Most people have not been hit by a linebacker that's 6'5" and can run a 4.5.
Right.
Right. Most people like that's huge. Like, people think that they can take that, but once you get hit by that, you may have never been hit like that before.
No, I agree.
And you got to understand these guys are at the top of the game. Going back to the lockout, pay these guys their money. I'm not saying they got to get everything, but the guys that are lower on the totem pole, they deserve a little bit more. Especially, they do deserve to get paid during training. They call it spring training, but it's not necessarily training. You're not training these guys on how to play baseball. You're just getting them better. They already know how to play baseball. That's why you're paying them to do it.
It's preparation for the season.
Preparation for the season. Football has a preseason.
Preseason.
Every sport has a preseason.
Preseason.
I want to shift gears, but I do want to say one more thing, sports related. Did you see that there's an MLS team? I think it's in New York. I forgot what team it might have been Minnesota. There's an MLS team that signed a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, I just saw it. And I think that was one thing, and we talked about eliminate, or I don't even know if we had the conversation, but about eliminating pulling in these youth. I think we did discuss it a little bit. Pulling in these kids into athletics, professional level athletics, because they're not mentally ready for what that level of the game has to bring.
Right.
It's crazy.
Look at Freddie Adu. You remember Freddie Adu was like 14 when they were, he was the Nike guy. And then he didn't really live up to the hype.
It didn't pan out because that's a ton of pressure that you put on a kid.
Right.
Like not everybody is LeBron James. And I hate to, I saw the comment in the chat called him Queen James. So I wasn't going to mention it, but LeBron has been under immense pressure since his teenage years. And there's not many people who can stand up to that level of pressure as a kid. So kudos to that man. And before we switch gears, I also want to give one more baseball shout out to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore Fighting Hawks, even though they are 0-8 right now. Fly high Hawks. We gonna come
You had
check
to put their record out there, bro. You had to do that.
Hey, it's
I know
with
we keep it real, but you had to do that, man.
It's with tradition.
You could have kept it quiet. You could have kept it quiet.
It's with Hawk tradition.
But they out there playing some tough teams.
Yeah,
they out there playing some real tough teams right
their
now.
Their schedule is tough right now. I mean, they ended up. I want to say they just played Georgetown today. Matter of fact, they played Georgetown today. They've had a really tough schedule. They lost a 4 game set with Albany, a 3 game set with Longwood, and then lost today against Georgetown. So they've had a tough schedule to open up the year, and it's been up north team, so it's not warm. They playing cold baseball right now.
Yo, were you on the team when we beat Villanova?
No.
Man, let me tell you, that was probably one of my favorite days of being an Eastern Shore baseball player. Like it was like it was. I don't even gonna go into it, but it was crazy. Like, I mean, they came back and whooped our ass in the second game of the doubleheader. But that first game, we gave it to them.
You got to take one. That's all we need.
I mean, that same year we swept St. Joe's. We swept Navy that year. Like we played some ball that year. So
you
go ahead.
Well, so, and I wanna shift gears a bit because it was something that upset me last week, and I know I said we wanted to talk about it and get it out there. Kim Potter, Minnesota police officer. She was sentenced to 2 years in prison and $1,000 fine for shooting and killing Dante Wright because she thought she grabbed her taser.
Because she thought what?
She thought she grabbed her taser.
Listen, man. This woman had a history. It came out in the trial. It came out, and this woman had a history of some shady, underhanded dealings. Okay, they had her on recording, telling a cop how to get away with something that they have done, or trying to get in front of a mistake that you're going to make, a mistake that you're going to make. 2 years for killing somebody. Now,
2 years.
When you sent me that, you sent me a comparison. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was you. You sent me a comparison of someone who pulled a gun out on somebody and got more time than she did.
Yeah, there was a case here, right here in Delaware, with a man who was at a rally. I'll use that term loosely. Mm-hmm. He was at a rally. He pulled a gun out on some individuals. He didn't shoot the gun. He to my recollection, he didn't verbally threaten the individuals. He just pointed the gun. He got sentenced to 5 years in prison
for pulling a gun out.
For pulling the gun
now, was he legally allowed to have this gun?
I mean, I don't know.
Right, once you point it at somebody, it becomes an issue.
Right. And I think you can legally possess it, but once you're pointing it at somebody, it kind of is what it is. But it takes me back to the case with Kim Potter, and Dante Wright's mother gave a statement after the sentencing. And she said, "This is the problem with our justice system today. White women's tears trump justice."
Whoo. That is, listen, man. That is a statement right there. That is a statement right there.
That stung.
We've seen it over and over again.
It amazed me that, and the judge did state that the remorse that Kim Potter showed played into the sentencing. So from from my understanding that was given to me from one of my friends who is an attorney, judges have leniency. They can make the decision on the sentencing, even if law recommends a certain number. Mm-hmm. So I believe that the prosecution had recommended a minimum of 7.5 years. And she got 2 years, of which she would be eligible to get out in 16 months with good behavior and $1,000 fine. I want to put that fine in perspective. She killed an unarmed black man and got $1,000 fine. In Delaware, if I am caught operating my car without insurance, it is a $1,500 fine. I get a bigger penalty financially from not driving my car with insurance than shooting and killing an unarmed black man. That's amazing.
It's amazing. It's sad. It's the world we live in. It's the system that we live in that we are fighting to change. I mean, there are people that don't understand why people like us are really fighting for change in this world. They don't realize why change is needed in this world. And I think that is very closed-minded. Okay. We know that when you live a life, okay, I can't speak from the privileged perspective. Okay, I just can't, because I've never been there. Just like someone else cannot speak from my perspective. You know what I mean? So, but they try to. That's the thing. They try to. And I ain't gonna lie, there are people that try to speak from the privileged perspective too, and they've never been there. They don't know what it's like to be privileged, right? Biggie said, "More money, more problems." I don't know what their problems is, but I'm sure I probably wouldn't mind finding out. I'll tell you that right now. I wouldn't mind finding out what them problems might be like.
I'll trade those problems any day.
I'm just saying. But there's one thing I wanted to talk about that I didn't tell you about, and it was it's a fun thing. Okay. Something to think about. And those that are with us, y'all can think about it too. So Entertainment Weekly magazine put out an article or a list of the best theme songs, TV theme songs, since 2000. So that means that this show had to premiere on or after the year 2000. So anything in the last 22 years that started since 2000. And I had an issue with the list. Like, I couldn't think of a lot of things to put on there that should have been on there. But I had an issue with the list. Now, I know Entertainment Weekly, their demographic is not necessarily me. But I had an issue with it. Because if I can find the article real quick while we're talking about it, because I have the magazine right here. I don't want to do too much. But I'm just going to put it up there right now. Power was not on the list. And not only was it not on the list, it wasn't even in the honorable mentions. And I feel like any TV theme song that you can play on TV and people love it, and you change it and people lose their minds about you changing the theme song to the point
and making it change back.
And you changed it back. That's a loved theme song. If you can hear it in the club, you can hear it at the bar, you can hear it at a basketball game. You're a football game, you can hear it. But it's not on the list. Entertainment Weekly, really? Now let me find this article. I'm gonna give you some of the things that was on. I think like SpongeBob was on this list. The Wire was on the list. I give them that. The Wire was on there.
I want to say The Wire was the only black one that was on the list.
It was absolutely the only black show that was on the list. Let me see. But if you were to make a list like this, what shows would you put on there after 2000? I mean, I don't know if there's a lot to pick from, but Power was one that just stood out to me that wasn't on there. Where would you go with it?
I would definitely put obviously Power has to be on there. Power for me is one of the top 15, top 20. It's got to be in the top 10, honestly.
Theme songs of all time, or just from 2000?
Of just of this, I guess, what do you want to call it? This century?
This era. Okay,
So
I'm with
I
you on
would
that.
put that up there. I would put the theme song from Entourage up there.
Oh yeah,
You
we
know,
definitely put that on there. Entourage was dope.
That was classic.
Entourage was dope for sure. I'm still trying to find the thing. I'm looking through the table of contents, but apparently table of contents aren't like they used to be. A whole bunch of advertisements and everything else in the table of contents here. So I don't know where I am right now.
I'm trying to think. I mean, from 2000 or newer, there's not a huge list of culturally relevant shows. I mean, and again,
I'm not talking about the show. I'm just talking
the
about
theme song. So I mean, the show.
So Miguel, it has to be Miguel's putting up Sanford and Son and Night Riders. So you know, he came into the conversation. Maybe he came into the conversation late. I'm not sure, but the show had to start premiere 2000 or later.
Everybody Hates Chris. That would be up there for me.
It's funny you mentioned that. So I was watching a video the other day, I think it was last week, where did you know Tichina Arnold sung that entire song? Like there's an entire song, and she's the singer on that song. I did not know she sung.
She did a full song, and they just kept that one part of the hook. Yeah.
That's
but she did an entire song for the theme, and I thought that was super dope.
Most TV show theme songs are entire songs, and they just take a part and just kind of put it there. Case in point, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That's an entire song, and they just kind of they almost put the whole song on there, but there's a couple of things that they left out, a couple of bars they left out of there.
I think like so it was catchy enough, I guess, to at least say of the last 22 years, I guess you want to call it that.
I'll tell you one of the things that was on there that stood out to me. That I was like, okay, this is on there, but not Power. SpongeBob. SpongeBob was on there. SpongeBob was on there. At that point, this whole list.
I don't remember seeing SpongeBob on. Was SpongeBob on the honorable mention or something?
I think it was on the honorable mention.
Okay, because I mean,
but either way,
SpongeBob makes the honorable mention, Power has to make the honorable mention.
Come on now. That just doesn't make sense. But I'm trying to find the thing. I feel like I flipped through this book 3 times and can't find it. But
so I when I looked through the list, like I started thinking, you know, which of these have music that I remember. So WandaVision was on the list. I remember WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
Adventure Time was on there. I've never even watched Adventure Time in my life.
I've watched Adventure Time.
That was actually it. I was playing.
Adventure Time is actually like I've only watched a handful of times, and if you watch it under certain influences, it's a pretty good show. It's a pretty good show. I'm not
gonna.
It makes so much sense under some influences. I'm just saying
because we are a family program. I'm not gonna ask which influences, but you know I appreciate the sentiments.
I'm just putting it out there. Okay, here we go. I found it. WandaVision was number 25 on the list, and that was the end of the list there. Adventure Time was 24. Big Mouth, a Netflix show, was 23. Weeds was 22. Mixed Dish was 21. Stranger Things 20. CSI 19.
Weeds was iffy for me.
I never even watched Weeds before.
I actually liked the show.
Kim Possible 18, One Tree Hill 17, Community 16, The Wire was 15. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt was 14. I've never heard of that. I guess that's a kid's show. I've never heard of it.
It gotta be.
Parks and Rec was 13. Big Bang Theory was 12. Big Bang Theory song is not good.
But there was a song?
It was a ditty. Smallville was 11. New Girl was 10. True Blood 9. Curb Your Enthusiasm 8. Now I like the show Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I absolutely love, but I love the
The
theme
eighth
song
best
too.
theme song
I
since
I love the
2000.
theme song. I loved it.
I like it, but the eighth best since 2000 and
I'm
Power's
not
not on the list.
I'm not gonna say it was eighth best, but I absolutely loved the theme song.
So number 7, you got Mad Men. Number 5, Game of Thrones. Number 4, The Office. I'm sorry, number 6. I skipped number 6. Gilmore Girls. Number 3, Succession. Number 2, The OC. Number 1, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
What
Never heard of that.
what is that?
I don't know, but see, these days you gotta be careful because some of this stuff could be on like Netflix, Hulu, and you'll never hear of it. But Miguel said burn that list, and I'm with him. This list sucks. This list is awful.
I agree, Miguel. I completely agree.
Entertainment Tonight needs to be ashamed of themselves with this list. This list is terrible. It's trash. I just threw the magazine out. I missed the trash can, but I just threw it out. Yeah, I missed the trash can pretty bad just now. But yeah, I threw that out. That list is terrible. So yeah, that was that. We about 45 minutes in, real quick. You wanted to mention the State of the Union. I didn't watch it.
Oh man.
I actually forgot it was on until like it was over. And I saw the Republican response. So tell me about it. First, did you watch it?
I watched it.
Okay.
I watched it. It was not worth watching. It was a lot of posturing, political posturing with the situation in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of posturing with how we are going to help the economy recover. And again, I don't trust, and I was tweeting live when I was watching it, which I should not do again because I have, in the last month, I have been banned from almost every social media platform.
Right.
And I probably, I want you to put that comment up there that Miguel just made. So as you know, our president, our current president is a big stutterer, and sometimes he has trouble reading the teleprompter.
No, he didn't call him the Iranians. No, tell me he didn't do that.
Well, it's in our chat, so it's been validated by at least one user.
Tell me he didn't say that.
We have to figure out how we're going to fix America, and I say that in the nicest way possible. But we don't have viable options to lead us into the future, especially when we're being led by a bunch of people who already qualify for Social Security. And I think we talked a little bit about, leadership, and just from a business standpoint, we talked about leadership and how organizations are failing the people that are within them because they're functioning on these old premises. And it's the same thing with the state of our nation right now. We are being led by a bunch of people who really don't understand the climate of what their people want.
I gotta say this right now because I was going to tweet it and I decided not to, but I'll say it right here. I was watching C-SPAN today.
Okay.
Don't know why I was watching C-SPAN, but I was watching C-SPAN today, and
that's a good thing.
Well, I kind of enjoy the political theater because it kind of revs me up because they're all full of crap, both sides. But I had a thought today when I was watching these people on C-SPAN and whatever they were doing. When they were getting the time, they got a minute to talk and blah, blah, blah. And I said, this country is really being run by one of two things. Either the smartest dumb people or the dumbest smart people. Because some of the things that came out of those people's mouths today was just ridiculous. And as a politician, this day and age, I would hate to be a politician because you have to, I'm going to say, because I don't know every politician. You have to compromise yourself to keep your job.
Right.
So even if it's something that you don't like, you have to pander to your base to continue in your job. So you have no choice but to lie. If I've said it many times, whether it be on this show, the new Twist show, whatever show I've been on, I've said it many times. The two-party system needs to go. It needs
And
to
we
go.
just had that put in the chat as well.
Is it?
Yep,
Hold on.
we
Let me
just
look.
had that same
Oh,
thing.
here we go. There we go. Look, great minds think alike. The two-party system needs to go. It's got to go. It is what is killing this country right now, because you have one side that wants to think this way, you have one side that wants to think this way, and they don't want to compromise. They don't want to compromise. They claim they want to compromise, but if you watch C-SPAN and stop watching, if you're not watching Fox News, if you're not watching CNN, if you're watching C-SPAN and actually hearing what these people are actually saying, not what people are interpreting what they say. Come on, man. You don't get me fired up. Don't get me fired up.
That is it right there.
Like you have to be this or you have to be that. I'm surprised that any independents even get into office, or libertarians, or whatever the case may be. I'm surprised they ever get into office, because it's like you need the backing, and anybody that just continues to support the two-party system in this country, just take a step back and just pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to what's going on. I tweeted this the other day, I think. The Republicans think that everything the Democrats are doing is stupid and they don't want it to pass, and vice versa. The Democrats don't want anything the Republicans to do with pass either. Why? Because they want to control the White House.
Right.
They want to control the White House. So everybody loved Biden. Everybody loved Biden when he was not vice president or president. I'm not talking about your regular citizens. I'm talking about in the government. They loved Biden.
Right.
Now all of a sudden he's dumb. Now all of a sudden he don't know what he's talking about. Now all of a sudden he's the worst person. Why would anybody in the government want to run for president? Tell me that. Tell me why anybody in this government would want to run for president. Your constituents, your colleagues are calling you dumb on one side of the aisle, and then you got your other colleagues that are polishing your shoes on your side of the aisle. But then you got hear me out on this one. What's her name? Ocasio-Cortez.
Yes.
The Tea Party, all these sub genres of Republicans and Democrats might be one of the best things that happened to the government, because now people have to shift their thinking and just can't just think in one direction. You know what I mean? They have to think around some other stuff. So,
another thing that I feel would help is term limits in every single political role that's out.
Every single one. Every single one. I agree with you wholeheartedly there.
There has to be. We have career politicians who have sat in seats for 20 plus years.
Strom Thurmond was like one of the oldest sitting senators or whatever he was, congressman, like ever. Like he was damn near 100 when he died.
And these people monopolize on these roles, and you stop the progression of people by not allowing free thinking to occur. Because if I'm here, I don't have to change my train of thought because you've already bought into it. And there's a younger generation of voters, and I hate to say it, but they vote by name recognition. Oh, I remember Tom Carper. I remember my first election, I voted for Carper simply because I remember my mom voting for Carper. Like, I didn't know that Carper wasn't really worth a damn until later. But then you realize that, all right, so we got to get out of this system of thinking where these people have been here for so long, you don't even have to research the candidates. You just pick them because, well, if this is the guy that we done picked for 20 years, it can't be wrong. We've constantly picked him over and over, so it's got to be right.
You're just believing his lies the most or her lies the most.
Right.
That's all. They lie to get in the office, and then it's all about. I've said it for many years. Voting is nothing but whose lies do you believe the most?
It's amazing.
Whose lies do you believe the most? You tell me that. So, we got a couple more things that we want to get to because we gotta get out of here because we got another show coming up at 9:00. we've been recording all doggone evening, man. The sun was out when we started recording.
Hey, I love it. I love it, man.
Did we want to talk about Juwan Howard?
No, because
give him the award, or are we leaving that alone?
You know what? So, as much as I wanted to give him the award, he was trumped by Hugh Jackson. So now I want to give Hugh Jackson the award.
And what award is that?
You get start the music. Start the music. Drop the beat. Let's get it. Big dummy, 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 big dummy. Big dummy. So this fool Hugh Jackson decides to hire Art Browse. For those of you who don't know who Art Browse is, it's probably a good thing. But he was the head coach of the Baylor University football team while sexual assault ran rampant under his reign. He was literally fired. He was a pariah. Nobody would touch him. Hugh Jackson said everybody deserves redemption. He feels that since he was kicked out of the league, he has to give somebody an opportunity. But Art Browse is not the person that I want leading not only young men, young black men. He would not have been my choice to coach at an HBCU, given that he has already failed as a leader of young black men, because most of the Baylor football team was black. Let's not confuse that. So he's already failed as a leader of young men in probably the most egregious of instances, which is allowing sexual assault, ignoring sexual assault, and covering up sexual assault. He is the type of individual that he should probably be labeled as a predator and not to be allowed around kids. I know that's a harsh statement, but what he did showed absolutely no respect for women, showed no respect for the men who were under his leadership. And Hugh Jackson hiring him shows that he has no conscience about what occurred in the past and not ensuring that things like this stop in the future. So I'm glad that Art Browse resigned on his own, which we know was a forced resignation based on all of the public backlash. But I'm glad that he does not have a job right now. Plain and simple.
Plain and simple. You happy you don't have a job. And for that reason, y'all, he gets the award today. Y'all know what award that is. Big dummy, 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 big dummy. All right, sponsor. If you want to sponsor, hit us up. Let us know. I think we gotta get out of here because we got another show in 40 minutes, less than 40 minutes that we gotta get ready for.
Let's keep it flowing.
Coming up at 9:00, you have the Check Swing podcast with R. will be with us. My man Miguel is gonna be with us, and of course I'll be there too. So we're gonna be talking about quite a few things. We're gonna talk about the baseball lockout, and a couple other things. We're gonna talk about Joey Gallo too. We're gonna talk about some of his comments too. We're gonna talk about that. So definitely stay with us over on the over on New Twist Radio and over on our YouTube channel. I had to think about it real quick. I see all these words are everywhere. I'm getting confused. But for R. and myself, we're gonna get up out of here. We appreciate y'all for hanging with us here on the
Don't cut me short. One final thought. Tomorrow is Do More 24 Delaware. Please make sure you go to bluedemonathletics.org or you go to the Blue Demon Athletics Inc. Instagram and make sure you set up to give. We want you to share the post. We want you to interact with us, but we definitely want you to give during Delaware's Giving Day. Do More 24 tomorrow from 6 p.m. to 6 p.m.
There you go. Starting at 6, get ready. Do some good. If you haven't done any good yet, do some good. Give to others and support a good cause. So with that being said, we're getting up out of here. Appreciate y'all for hanging with us for Intelligent Ignorance. Stay tuned. Coming up at 9 o'clock over on the, of course, over on our YouTube channel, we got the Check Swing Podcast. We're gonna be talking some more stuff. So just stay with us. We appreciate y'all. Talk to y'all next time. Peace.